There is something beautiful in the word art itself, excellent, unsurpassed, something out of reach. Most are not revealed, and not literally. And manipulations are inherently extensive. We can meet them at the movies, in TV series and advertising, romanticization and so on. But much more interesting, how things work in real everyday life. And why is it called the art of manipulation? Because if you look from one side, art can be called anything, any random thing. A stub will spit in the form of a picture, and manipulations are mostly random and unconscious, or childishly stupid and naive. During the day we do it constantly by deceiving, without finishing, embellishing, praising, and vice versa condemning. What is art? It's a matter of subtle and conscious work. When you see from afar, how can this help you? How exactly can you apply it, and most importantly, why is it stupid? And unconscious repetition will not bring at all. They'll just make fun of you or worse. So the point of manipulation is so that it doesn't seem like manipulation. Art in hidden work and its application. And let's make one point clear. All this really works, but it is told for the purpose of curiosity. It is charismatic people who seem charismatic to us. For that very reason, if you are interested, how are charismas related to manipulation? So there can be many goals for manipulation. It's to win over a girl, which you feel attracted to, but for one reason or another you are missing something. Win over a business or important business partner, and in general, to win over a person. Any everyday situation. If we talk about everyday situations and unconscious manipulations, then usually they are all caused lack of trust in a person, which generates anxious need to control everything, feeling of lack of love and attention, afraid of individuals, and the desire to achieve approval and heights. But there are also cases when those same manipulations are not just used consciously. Part of the manipulation is carried out ego with the aim of scratching your own. Sometimes it's so cheap, which has nothing to do with art. We will also touch on this today. And after this preface, let's move on to one of the most entertaining. Let's start with the law of the mirror. And in fact, we have all heard about it. This is a repetition of facial expressions and intonation. Gestures of the interlocutor. Mirror effect tactic uses natural human narcissism. This is a great way to seduce. You study his soul values, interests, and then you project it on yourself and in his head. Yes, he's like me. Few people don't want to see their own copy opposite them, and repeating gestures and facial expressions is not so simple. What it may seem at first glance. Observation and naturalness are required. You need to be able to tune in to the same wavelength, and as a result, you will begin to predict the movements of your interlocutor. And often he too will repeat your expressions and gestures. And it turns out like this. Now you are no longer following. Repeat his actions. He's the one behind you. Follows such non-verbal interpenetration. It allows you to direct a person in the direction you want. However, for this, you need to achieve a certain degree of trust. In a relationship, it's just impossible to get together. Well, either it's very difficult. For example, you came across a person who defiantly controls himself, shows no emotion at all, doesn't make any gestures. However, the other person still does something. Fleeting movements. And the most powerful means of building contact is a setup. What to breathe under. This is generally very strange and incomprehensible. How exactly to apply this? When you adjust to another person's breathing, this is also a kind of manipulation. And to correctly copy poses and facial expressions, you need to be able to understand their meaning. Just like that, nothing will work out for you. Assume a defensive posture. Dissatisfied expression. Posture and gestures of superiority are not allowed. If your goal is to influence a person, and not turn him against you, and a mirror, it only reflects the real world at first glance. In fact, it's all an illusion, in which copies of people and objects are upside down. And when we look into this piece of glass, we never think about it. Taking reflection at face value, and further, one of the most probably cruel types of manipulation. Let me tell you just in case that this is not worth using. This is gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse when one person manipulates another, trying to intimidate, distorts information. So a person begins to doubt the adequacy, own perception, and your memories. There is a feeling here, own abnormality and inadequacy. And it is not always characterized. Direct reproaches and insults. As a rule, This is a very subtle manipulation,
having as its goal
instill in the victim the idea of his own inferiority, distorts it into unreality, and that there is something wrong with her, and such influence gradually undermines a person's ability to take own solution. How does this manipulation actually happen? Well, the manipulator can act as follows. It may make the victim look bad, making others think that she's gone crazy, unreasonable and mentally unstable. Use a mask of confidence, persistence and false empathy to make the victim believe that she's doing everything wrong. Thus, the victim will gradually begin to doubt himself and will believe someone else's version of that. Changing the topic of conversation. The manipulator can evade the topic, refuses to acknowledge the victim's feelings
which
and
makes
thoughts,
her doubt herself more and more,
distorts and redirects his actions and words in his favor, thereby causing the victim to doubt himself,
especially if it is accompanied by fake suffering.
Well, for example, I didn't hit you at all. I didn't hit you. I just touched you with my hand. Still okay.
Listen, if you remember, I actually tried to help you.
Stop. Also, all the successes and achievements of the victim, they just depreciate, and the disadvantages of failure, errors on the contrary, are hyperbolic, and the victim is also convinced that she is not able to come to this or that thought on her own, on one's own, that she literally desperately needs your help.
Next comes reconversion.
This is some kind of manipulative behavior during which some third party is always involved.
This is a movie character,
actor or ex-friend, and they
not always so simple
as it seems at first glance. Here are different options from the diagram.
There is a real person with clear motives.
For example, does your girlfriend
who
have
she
an
says
ex has feelings for her?
She can often talk about that
will go to him. He'll just run away now.
Can make comparisons with it and so on. Talk about it.
What? But he could afford to give me something. What I want is sorry. That everything is different now. Friends can be attracted, relatives or colleagues.
Some comparisons also occur with them.
Words are also transmitted
disproportionately.
Spend a lot of time with one of them. And also goal 1. Show this to a loved one, that he is worse than weaker, and that he will still lose to them in any case. So there's no need to relax. Well, he talks about the actors and characters of the film. I no longer see this as a stupid manipulation. And by the way, about those same ones, stupid manipulations, I would like to touch on depreciation, and people with very low self-esteem succumb to it. And this is really very easy to play. It can manifest itself in completely different ways. Based on the situation,
this is an
exaggerate any of your achievements, success or any joy. Most often, this is one of the dumbest types of manipulations. Envious people use it. For example, you decide to start doing martial arts. You're inspired. You're all ready. And you decide to share it with your friends. And in response you hear something like,
"What are you talking about?
What kind of boxing are you talking about? No regalia. People have been doing this since childhood. And everything seems logical.
He's trying to help you blah blah blah." But it seems like the motive is completely different.
Or situation,
with
for example, when a person
who clearly doesn't understand sports and
has
never
gone tell you that for a year of training you're somehow not very pumped up, not very aesthetic. I don't think this needs any explanation.
Each of us has encountered this.
So where is the art?
I don't see anything attractive about this at all. You shouldn't be attracted to that.
It should evoke at least some emotion. They just exist. It's there, it's not going anywhere. It was, and will always be.
There are several options.
You either learn to resist manipulation, or you succumb to them yourself.
The world is not entirely rainbow and
you will be deceived and lied to every day. Betray if you are anything. They will take revenge and envy.
Put a spoke in the wheels.
And you certainly, you know and are aware that there are manipulations. I didn't open a new planet for you, but this is just a reminder of that be careful. There are a lot of different people around, and not every one of them has good intentions.